program. I am Thomas Afroman Mwale, and pleased to be joined this morning by the Citizens First President and President Harry Kalaba, who will be helping us look into the various issues caught in the attention of the nation. Happy New Year, President Kalaba, and welcome to Live Radio.
Thomas, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to our viewers and listeners from wherever they are listening to us from. It's good to be here. This is my very first radio interview I'm having in the year 2024.
Pleased that you've prioritized Live Radio to be the first station.
It's the very first station.
Great. That said, how is the Citizens First political party?
Well, it's a new year, and we are looking to the new year as one which we will use to continue building on what we did in the past year of 2023. This is a year that will do a lot of extensive mobilization as a political party, because remember, we are only remaining with about 24 months before we go into the election. So it's a very busy year. It will be this one.
All right, great. Stemming from the background of us coming from the year 2023, which was described in different ways by different stakeholders, and the head of state, President Hakainde Hichilema, described 2023 as a challenging year. According to the analysis of the Citizens First Party, what was 2023 like for Zambia?
Thomas, 2023 was a very difficult year, extremely difficult in many fronts.
Okay.
It was a year when we saw the kwacha being extremely under pressure against the US dollar. You saw that the prices of fuel are kept on going up in the year 2023. And so it was very, very difficult for Zambians to cope. The cost of living kept on escalating very high. In 2023, we also saw that farmers had struggled to access their farming inputs. It was in 2023 that we also saw that the levels of unemployment have kept on going high in our country.
Really?
Yes, and so 2023 leaves a bad taste in the mouth. It was a year when many Zambians will say, well, we thank God that we have managed to pass through it. That's a papatiza.
Okay.
Chakacha 2023. We have just tried to negotiate our way into 2024. It was rough, tough. And so we saw electricity tariffs going up in 2023. We also saw the cost of connection fees going up, by over. We anticipate 2024 to also continuously be tough, because for as long as leaders will not be forthright, they will not admit that there are certain challenges in certain areas, then the challenges of the Zambian people will persist.
Possibly in line with just what you've talked about, one would wonder what exactly unemployment you are pointing at, President Kalaba, stemming from a background that it is in the year 2023 when the over 3,000 nurses got the jobs in government. It is within the same year 2023 when the Zambia Army, ZNS, also recruited, and just recently this year it is starting on a higher note at the close of 2023 when the local government did announce that they are recruiting over 441. With regards to unemployment, really, is that an issue you can point out to say there's this gap that contributed to 2023 being a very difficult year according to your words?
Thomas, I have been laughing when you've been talking about teachers getting employed, nurses getting employed. In a serious economy, you don't talk about employment from the government perspective. In a serious economy, employment is talked about from the private sector, especially that our colleagues in government who are talking about wealth and job creation. You cannot talk about wealth creation by employing civil servants, 3,000 of them, and then you say we have created jobs. Those are vacancies which were already there. And so they were filling up vacancies. That is not job creation. And you are only mentioning one sector, the education sector. Okay, two, plus the health sector. What about the agricultural sector? We want to see agriculture extension officers getting employed. Once we begin expanding, we want to see public administrators getting employed. We want to see human resource practitioners getting employed. So you cannot just limit it. We want to see people from the mining sector, metallurgists, geologists. We want to see them getting employed. You just cannot talk about employing people where there was an establishment which is already existing. You fill in the vacancies and then you say, oh, there was job creation. So, to the contrary, there is a lot of unemployment out there in this country. Because even those vacancies we're talking about, people are still complaining because the responsibility of government to ensure that they make the private sector thriving. Once the private sector is thriving, they are going to absorb the many people that government cannot take in. Because government is just but one employer. There should be several other employers, like Live FM Radio here where we are.
But I'd say let's appreciate now the various issues that you talked about in line with just it being a difficult year. We start from the level of economics as 2023 saw also the escalation of the cost of living. Stemming from the background of the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, the projects the kwacha that is for a family of 5 to feed off. This is contrary to where we are coming from, as in 2022, a family of 5 was spending 8,902 kwacha to spend within a month to just afford a decent meal. Stemming from this also, it is in the same year that we saw the continued increase in the price of fuel and depreciation of the kwacha. When you sit down and look into these economic challenges that Zambia faced in 2023, your current assessment, where do you think the problem really is for Zambia to have a family of 5 spending over 9,000 kwacha to just afford a decent meal?
Thomas, the problem is hinging on 2 factors.
Okay.
2 factors. Thomas, 78% of Zambia's exports is in the mining sector. And that sector is basically what controls our economy. What to be done is that we need to bring in the mining sector a body like MEMACO, which was previously there in the UNIP days. The job of MEMACO was basically to put a correlation between what was being exported and what was being declared by the mining companies. Right now, that correlation is missing. Secondly, we have allowed, or this government has allowed, mining companies to export whatever they mine, they sell, and the proceeds of what they are selling are not hitting our banks. And so that is a challenge, because that is putting the kwacha under pressure. What is supposed to happen is that whatever proceeds that they get from the mining sector, first of all, they should be allowed to hit our banks. Once they hit our banks, then they will sustain the kwacha. They will remove the pressure from the kwacha. Because the volatility of the foreign currency is too high. And that is why the kwacha is constantly under pressure. We have allowed mining companies to sell our copper, to sell our cobalt, to sell our minerals, and we have allowed them to bank in Australia, they can bank in Switzerland, they can bank in the USA, they can bank wherever they want to bank those dollars. So for as long as those dollars are not coming back here, the kwacha will continuously remain under pressure. It is to do like what happened in 2012, when a statutory instrument was introduced, which compelled mining companies to bring in all their exports, all their export earnings. They were first of all to hit the local banks here, and then they can disperse them to wherever they wanted. What that meant was that gave cushion to the kwacha. It gave strength to the kwacha, because then there were dollars in the economy. There was kwacha cover in the country. But without that, there's a problem. The second issue that you have had is that the UPND government reduced the mineral royalty tax from 6% to 3%. What that means is that government has lost half the revenue that they were getting from the mining sector. And government said, we are reducing the mineral royalty tax for reasons of attracting foreign investors to come and invest in the mining sector. And so we need to make the mining sector attractive so that outsiders can come and invest in here. Unfortunately, that has not happened, because we have not seen any investors coming in here. And losing a gigantic 3%, half of the revenues from the mining sector, obviously affected our economy in 2023, because government then has been looking for other resource avenues to cushion that 3% or that half of the earnings that we're getting from the mining sector, and it has been a tall order. That is why now you are saying that they have introduced the issue of now, even when you are sending Airtel money, now they'll be charging. You know, is it 80 ngwe per every transaction plus what you are paying already now?
Starting at 8 ngwe to 1 kwacha 8 ngwe.
Yeah, so from 8 ngwe to 1 kwacha 8 ngwe. So what that does is that it is now putting more pressure on the users, the end users. And who are the end users? It is Thomas and myself seated here. So that again is going to be an economic burden on us, because government is trying to look for ways to ameliorate that challenge which has been created by themselves in the mining sector. They needed to have been patient. Any country in the world, when you look at Tanzania, in Tanzania, what President Magufuli did was, he too was told to reduce the mineral tax, and he refused. He said, we will not reduce because we need medicines in our hospitals. We will not reduce because we need to have CT scanners at the cancer department. We will not reduce because we need to provide for our people in schools and so on and so forth. We haven't done that. Today we are struggling with CT scanners in the hospitals because government can't afford. So now our patients are supposed to be going to Tanzania to be treated.
Recently Zambia announced that the CT scan that they bought. So obviously that's exactly
Zambia is a big country, Thomas. Zambia is a big country. You can't be talking about Zambia announcing that they have bought one CT scanner. We are talking about a population of more than 20 million people. What will that one CT scanner they have bought do for us as a country? We need to be talking about more than 50 CT scanners around Zambia. 100 CT scanners, 200 CT scanners. You are talking about one CT scanner, and you are here on radio saying that they announced. These are the issues that we should be looking at today. Had we not reduced the mineral tax, we would have had money to buy CT scanners. We would have prevented deaths from happening. Had we allowed that certain instrument, which our colleagues in UPND don't want to bring back, mines cannot be playing the way they are playing around. Zambia is losing revenue because of the mines. And look at the workers the way they are being given. On one hand, you give the mines tax holidays, but the workers working in the mines are not enjoying that tax holiday. Their conditions remain the same. Me, I thought that they should pass on the benefits also to the miners. But that has not happened. The only ones who are enjoying the tax holidays, the only ones who are getting the benefits of Zambia reducing its mineral tax from 6 to 3%, it's just the mine owners. So those are the challenges. That's why the Center for the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection is on firm grounds when they say that a family of 5 or 6 should be living on above 9,000 kwacha. And I'm sure that going into the first quarter of this year, maybe March, it will be much more than that. Because I see the kwacha collapsing every day. The kwacha is under extreme pressure. I see the cost of fuel going up. The Energy Regulation Board has tried in the last 2 months to be consistent. They have not reduced and they have not upped the price. But what I can tell you is that January this month end, definitely, they will give you a reason why they should increase, because as the kwacha keeps on tumbling before the dollar, they too will be under pressure to increase the cost of production or the cost of bringing your fuel from whatever they're getting it into our vehicles. So that is going to be a challenge, because once you increase fuel, you basically increase everything.
In 2022, January, the new Dawn administration implemented the monthly review of prices. And this is a policy which was criticized by and large by the citizens as well as the experts within the energy sector, in line with the inconsistencies that this revealing of fuel is posing on budgeting and all that issues. And when we look at how we started 2023, per liter, petrol was buying at diesel, rather, it was at 26 kwacha 44 ngwe, and petrol was at 24 kwacha 49 ngwe. We closed the year December, and a liter for diesel was at 29 kwacha 96 ngwe, and Petrol was at 29 kwacha, 98 ngwe.
Basically 30 kwacha.
Looking into these issues, in October, on the 9th, 2023, President Hakainde Hichilema did task the permanent secretary, who was new then, Peter Mumba, that he should be able to look into this policy and find a better mechanism of revealing fuel to avoid the uncertainty that it is causing on the citizens, because there is worry out there. This is the month of January. As citizens first, aren't you worried that the directive of the president is not seemingly being taken serious by ARB?
First of all, we are worried ourselves on 2 or 3 fronts. We are worried, first of all, that the president does not seem to know what he is doing. You cannot give a directive to a permanent secretary to look at a policy issue. It is not a permanent secretary that looks at policy issues. It is the cabinet. It is his cabinet that looks at policy issues. The role of a permanent secretary is policy implementation. I was a civil servant myself for 10 years. And the role of the civil service, like that of the permanent secretary, is policy implementation. It is nothing to do with look at the policy. No. The policy framework is crafted by the executive, which is cabinet. And since the point of departure was wrong, of asking a permanent secretary to look into the fuel issues, you and I are wasting time here saying that nothing has changed. Because, first of all, the point of departure itself was wrong. Therefore, we who knew that was wrong, and Thomas, we even talked about it. We even said, this is a wrong methodology they are applying. Because it is not a permanent secretary to decide. It doesn't even have sight of cabinet minutes. It's only the secretary of the cabinet who has sight of cabinet minutes. Therefore, because of that, we'll continue having the Energy Regulation Board doing what they're doing. This is where our leaders, as I said earlier on, for as long as our leaders will not be sincere, they will want to play hide and seek, throw responsibility at junior officers who they clearly know are not the ones responsible for what they're asking them to do. Zambia will not go anywhere. I think we need to reach that threshold where we need to be taking responsibility as leaders, agreeing that this is our duty. It is the duty of cabinet to sit and review the monthly adjustments of fuel. Why hasn't he sat down with his cabinet? Why ask a PS, who is not even a member of your cabinet, to go and look into fuel adjustments? That is an issue of the ERB and cabinet, and cabinet has allowed them to do that. It is true, it does not create a sense of stability in the business environment, because you don't know whether they are going to increase or reduce, and so you can't properly budget. This is why we in the Citizens First have always said what Zambia requires is what Dr. Kaunda did. What Zambia requires is to do what Dr. Kaunda did by creating a body called Indeni. The sole purpose of Indeni was to create stability in the country when Zambia was under threat. I remember when we were under threat from South Africa at that time, when they were being ruled by Piet Botha and his team, and so we could not use the South African route. And so Zambia understood that we needed to have our own fuel reserves. That is why Indeni was created, to act as something that is going to insulate our stability. Indeni was keeping our fuel. It has the capacity to keep fuel for at least 6 months. Even if the world order is disturbed, you can keep your fuel at Indeni for those months. So it is important that many more Indenis must be created. Now Zambia has got a population of 20 million people. When Indeni was being created in Indora in 1973, I want to believe that we were only about maybe 5 million people or 4.5 million people. Now we are 20 million plus. It means that the capacity of Indeni to stock our fuel is not even enough. We need to get another Indeni in Kapirimposhi. We need another Indeni in Nakonde. And probably another Indeni right here in Lusaka. Those are the areas we should be looking at so that we can begin stocking fuel. Once we stock fuel, the ERB is not going to be telling you and myself seated here that we are increasing fuel. They will not even do that, because it is the first time that ERP is behaving like that, because the UPND have come and all they are doing is to pump a finished product. They are pumping diesel straight from Tanzania. You know that, eh? They are pumping petrol straight using the Tazama pipeline into here in Zambia. That is not a good thing. What that has done is that they have removed people from their jobs. Because what used to happen at Indian is that Indian was not a refinery, it was a separator. When they pump crude oil in Indian, they used to separate diesel now and petrol. And in the process of separating diesel and petrol, they would get kerosene. In the process of separating diesel and petrol, they would get liquefied petroleum gas. In the process of separating diesel and petrol, they would get their bitumen, you know. So they were creating jobs for people who are selling liquefied petroleum gas, in line with the policy of this government on the environment. Because if you want to avoid it is to use liquefied petroleum gas. They were creating jobs for people who are selling kerosene. They were creating jobs for people who are selling bitumen. Because now even bitumen has to come from Tanzania. It's Pangirama money shipping jobs outside. When we come into government, we have to have several Indians done. People need to have a buffer. People should stay. People should have stability. The people stay even in Botswana. People can stay for 6 months. The fuel price is constant. Not here where every month you don't know whether fuel will be increased or not. That's not the way it should work. The job of government is to create an enabling environment. And we're asking government to create an enabling environment for our people in the business sector so that they can begin planning. Without that, we are in trouble.
This is Live Issues. In case this is when you're joining us in studio, I have with me the president of the Citizens First and President Harry Kalaba. And of course, we're dissecting issues bordering on the state of affairs in Zambia. For advanced question, you can send a voice note on WhatsApp or a direct message. It is 0977 624270. That is 0977 624270. That is the number you might want to utilize in the meantime to send an advanced question. Then at 10 hours, I'll be able to open the phone lines for you to come through and ask your questions in line with our discussion right here on Live Radio. Let's get to the democratic space in Zambia, which became so famous in 2023. At the last presser, the head of state he was asked with regards to these claims that have come forth from civil society organizations. The Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops issued a pastoral letter where it cited the shrinking democratic space in Zambia. The Council of Churches in Zambia issued a statement in line with these concerns also that were highlighted by ZCCB. The Evangelical Fellowship in Zambia issued the same statement, similar statement, let me say so, with regards to the shrinking democratic space in Zambia. We had a civil society organization, or CIDA, is the recent to issue a statement in line with the shrinking democratic space in Zambia. When the head of state was asked the question, he said he does not know as to whether there is a shrinking democratic space in Zambia today, because the shrinking democratic space in Zambia was in the Patriotic Front regime, where he cited a couple of examples with regards to how he was tortured, how he did not have an opportunity to speak with electorates freely. And he spoke of all these examples. Recently, reacting to OCIDA, the chief government spokesperson said they will not surely capsize to those whom he called the enemies of progress, who are saying that there's a shrinking democratic space in Zambia. I want to get your reaction to all these voices that issued out statements, but unfortunately the government does not see a shrinking democratic space.
Thank you, Thomas, and I'm happy, Thomas, that I know you are very detailed and well informed about these things that are happening. Because if it was just Harry Kalaba's voice coming from the political party voice, you would say he's just politicking. But tell me what interest the Zambia Catholic of Bishops would have in partisan politics. Tell me what the Council of Churches would have. Tell me what CCZ interest would have in partisan politics. Just tell me what this civil society organization's interest would be, Laz, in partisan politics. Tell me what OCIDA's interest would be in partisan politics. They don't have any interest in that. This is the problem with the UPND leadership. And this is why UPND will lose power in 2026. Because if you can ignore the Conference of the Catholic Bishops' voice, if you can ignore the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, EFZ, if you can ignore the Council of Churches, if you can ignore OSIDA, if you can ignore these progressive non-government organizations, and indeed even your fellow players in the political space who are telling you that there is shrinking political space in the country. Recently, is it 2 days ago, the Inspector General of Police, Grafa Msamba, issued a statement that he will no longer allow political parties to have political rallies because the environment is not conducive. Thomas?
According to what I heard, it was because of those political parties who are issuing inflammatory language. That's what I heard him say.
I am telling Mr. Msamba on this radio, it is not his place. It is not his place to tell political parties that they will not have rallies and he will not allow it. It is not his place. Mr. Rafa Msamba will end up in very big trouble. We have taken a step. I want to announce you are using this program. Today, not tomorrow, today. Mr. Msamba will receive a letter from me and Comrade Winter Kavimba. We have written to him, asking him to retract his statement that he made. And we have given him 7 days in which he should retract that statement. If he doesn't retract that statement, we are dragging him to court. First of all, in his individual capacity, because he is a threat to our democracy as a country. You can't issue statements because you are a public officer which are not supported by the law. Today, he will receive that letter. If he doesn't retract his statement, we are going to the High Court of Zambia with him, Mr. Msamba. Because Mr. Msamba must know that this country is for all of us. His job as IG is just to maintain peace and tranquility in our country. It is not for him to add or negate. No. His job, and I hope he's listening to me, his job is just to maintain peace and order in our country. What he is proposing anarchy in our country. It is not his space, and will prove before the courts of this country that Msamba is offside.
All right. Before we continue finishing on just analyzing the democratic space, I would want to know, just from your analysis, how the Inspector General of Police is proposing anarchy. When he says
anything that you
political
propose,
parties who are in the bid of inciting instability with regards to peace in the country are those that will not be allowed to hold
what
rallies and all
criteria?
that
What
stuff.
criteria will he use? What criteria will he use to advance that argument? Which law will he use to advance that argument? There is no law which says a political party which doesn't. So he wants political parties that will be vuvuzelas. Those are the ones that you will be allowing Msamba. And in any case, there's no provision within the law that allows Msamba to allow a political party to have a rally or not. It is just to notify him that we are going to have a meeting. That's what the Public Order Act says. Have you seen the Public Order Act? It's a very small document there. Very small piece of, which just says notify police. So, we are advising the IG. We are advising him to withdraw that statement. He will go and talk what he's talking in court. He will go and talk what he's talking in court. Because I think it's high time we began putting order in some of these people who are excited. And you, Thomas, you can even be repeating. He said that political parties which are inciting, which political parties are inciting violence? Which ones? And if they were inciting violence, why haven't they been arrested? You don't have to wait for them to come and notify you for you to say, no, you are inciting violence. If anybody does anything that is contrary to the law, have them prosecuted.
That's the reason, obviously, the spokesperson of the police would issue warnings to political parties where they would say that we have intelligence information that you want to you have plans or intentions to cause anarchy and all that stuff. So obviously it is in that line.
Mr. Grafe Musamba is the one who's causing anarchy by issuing statements that are not supported by the law. He is the one causing anarchy by issuing statements that are supported by the law. And he must be very careful in the manner he's trigger happy, because this will not end well for him. That is why he's going to end up in courts. And in any case, some of these people should begin to learn. The UPND, which he wants to associate himself so much with, is going out in the next 2 years. The UPND is going out. That's a fact. UPND is losing power because they cannot listen to Osida, they cannot listen to the Catholic bishops, they cannot listen to the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, they cannot listen to the Council of Churches of Zambia. If they cannot listen to these, who are the custodians of the people's voices, the people's moral voices, if they can't listen to them, who would they listen to? They can listen to us. Of course, for some of us, they won't listen to us because they feel we are competitors. But the truth of the matter is, they are going out because of this same thing of thinking they have achieved so much. I listened to what was being said by the head of state concerning the year 2023. He admitted and says we traveled the world. And when we traveled the world, results are beginning to show. And you, Thomas, you did not ask him what results are beginning to show. But me, I can tell you what results are beginning to show. The results that are beginning to show are that there is hunger in the country. The results that are beginning to show are that fertilizer to farmers, most people have not gotten the fertilizers they should have gotten it. The results that are beginning to show are that we have roads in this country, especially feeder roads in this country, that are not worked on. Those are the results that are showing.
Before we forget, I would want to get a reminder from you, Honorable Kalaba, with regards to what exactly is the shrinking democratic space in Zambia right now. Possibly,
Thomas.
This is something, just a minute, this is something that the listener might also want to appreciate, because the head of state made it clear that lawbreakers will not be supported, whether you're politicians or not. And according to the statement, he said when he was flagging off the distribution of CDF monitoring vehicles, he said political players should behave themselves, because the law does not see who is a politician or not. So is it the arrests of opposition political leaders that you point to the shrinking democratic space?
I was in Kalulushi myself, and you know the story. I was in Kalulushi when the police came for me at the National Chair Lady's residence in Kalulushi.
Okay.
I asked them, what wrong did I do? They told me, you did not inform us that you are in Kalulushi. I told them, which law provides for me to come and report myself at Kalulushi station that now I am in Kalulushi, my officer in charge, and this is my program? Which law? I was detained in Kalulushi. Citizens First Youths had applied for permission to go there, notified police that they wanted to do a countrywide peaceful demonstration of two things: the president's continued stay in community house and the rising cost of living. They were denied. The police said they didn't have enough manpower to support that. Even when we had enough marshals to manage our own protests, they wouldn't allow us. If that is not shrinking political space, what is it? What is it? They are not allowing political parties to have rallies. First of all, it was Gertrude Imenda, the deputy UPND, who announced that who said he will not have meetings. Which law are they using? So if that is not shrinking political space, what is it? And if our president cannot see that this is wrong, then we have a problem on our hands. If he cannot see that there is shrinking political space, then there is a problem. And this is the problem that we find with the UPND. They like referring to the past. to the past. Every time it's to the past. I don't know if you're married.
Is that a problem?
I don't know if you're married. But if you go and marry a woman from the bar, you found her in the bar. Then you marry her. It will not be right for you every time to be reminding her of where you got her from. No, after all, after all, after all, then there's something wrong with you, because you knew yourself. We all know they took over from this particular political party. And the people of Zambia were very explicit in their decision. They said, we are giving you 2.8 million votes against your closest rival, 1.8 million votes. They were emphatic in their decision. Just that should have closed the door of talking about the past, because the people already don't want to be talking about what they said. We have moved on. But every time you fail, you keep on saying, it was them, it was them, it was them. How is that helping us? The reason why I'm aspiring for leadership is because I am telling you that we have challenge. We are telling you here that we have ideas on how we can run government. If I were the president, I would not even have gone to the IMF to begin getting $184 million, and you are clapping that now $184 million. No. The answer lies within here. If I were a president, I would have put the mines to order. The financial seepages would have come to an end. Would have made sure Kasenseli is operational now. Would have made sure the mines in Impika, where there is gold, we begin getting the necessary revenue from there. We have revenue all right, left, and center. But because personal interests of leaders is what is ahead, as opposed to the people's interests. Honestly speaking, show me one country, just one country here in Africa, and I speak as a former foreign affairs minister, just one country which has succeeded using the IMF. One country.
The president said the IMF that people knew then is different with what it is now. So
Mr. Kainde Hichilema is new at governance, and it doesn't take time to do research. And that's the problem we have with the president.
Obviously, he has economic advisors.
He doesn't. He has advisors who he advises. And that's the problem. He has advisors, yes, but he advises them. Because if he was being advised, the president would have known that you handle an economy from a multi-sectorial perspective. You don't handle it just from one nose diving position. No. It's multi-sectorial. We have got solutions within Zambia here and even in the DRC Congo. You have got the DRC Congo. Just the Congo alone can begin offloading your debts. And I'll give them free advice. I'll give them free advice. If I were a president of this country and I'm presiding over this economy, I know that the DRC Congo has got a lot of mines in Lubumbashi there. Trucks and trucks pass from Lubumbashi. They have to pass through Zambia to take their copper to Namibia port or Tanzanian port, but they have to pass through Zambia. In the process, our roads are getting damaged. If I were a president, I would fly into Kinshasa, talk to my colleague in there, and work out a bilateral agreement between the two countries on how we are going to preserve our roads, on how we are going to enhance. And just that agreement I would do, the kind of money which Zambia will start getting here is plenty of money. Just that one issue. But they are not thinking outside the box. They are coming into government, looking at traditional markets. They don't want to go to non-traditional markets. You go to a traditional market, you go to the IMF, you go to what? You don't even have to go to there. Because you have got your copper there, you've got your gold there, you've got your diamonds in this country, you've got your emeralds in this country. Just you being serious and avoid getting money in the night is what is going to help this economy be where it should be. These people are not making decisions. They are selling decisions. And because they are selling decisions, Zambians continue wallowing in poverty.
There's a question that has come through, but I'll ask it in the way that I would want to get your reaction in this space on just the fight against corruption in the New Dawn administration. But there's someone who sent a message. He says, Mr. President, talk about corruption also. In Defense Force, I was shortlisted under officers category, but it just shocked me and my colleagues at Curfew ZNS training school how we were told to leave and how many names from some regions were being brought up to replace us. The recruitment for Defense Force is corrupt and full of nepotism. From Bauleni, Lusaka, I am Mulweleni. In that relation, you issued a statement on just the fight against corruption also in the New Dawn administration following the resignation of Honorable Kakuba. I want to get your perspective in that line as well.
Now, first of all, in fact, on the Defense Forces, I think I've also got, I'm aware about even about 7 police officers or so who were on training, and they finished 6 months in there, and afterwards they were told that they were going to be discharged because the establishment was full and all that kind of stuff. So what he's saying, I think we are asking we're asking government to take these issues very seriously. These complaints from this gentleman who is saying that he was left out and that he was replaced by people from another region, and that is the talk really I don't subscribe to. Yeah, because this talk is growing in our country. This talk is growing in our country. And that is why yesterday we issued a statement as Citizens First on this same thing of regionalism. It is not going to build our country. Regionalism is going to destroy us. We must begin picking people on the basis of quality. And we have an opportunity as leaders to demonstrate that we can build the Zambia we want. We have got no reason to give a comrade like this one in the Defense Force, who was not picked, and he said other people came from other regions. You know what that does? It begins planting hatred in him against another region, even when the reasons could have been different. But because this is something that the leadership, especially President Hakainde Hichilema, has been talking about at every meeting that he has. He brings it out. Even when he shouldn't, he brings it out. I spent time in Parliament with Gary Nkombo. I have never heard Gary Nkombo address people publicly and talking about journalism. Why? I have never heard Cornelius Mwetwa himself address people and talk about regionalism. No. I've never heard Minister Brenda Tembatamba, Minister of Labour. I've never heard her address people talk about regionalism. Why is it that it is just the president himself? Just why? Is it that it is just the president himself who is so much talking about this regionalism? It is in his head. It is in his head. You know what happens to somebody who is a thief? If you are a thief and you're standing next to someone who is not a thief, the thief will think someone wants to steal from him because that's what they do. So the president is always talking about regionalism, even where it is not necessary.
Obviously, you know what
Thomas.
The talk in the country has been. There are different groups that have been formed. There is Umozi Kumawa, there is... And this is the reason to
even
why...
if those groups were being formed, Thomas, the president should not get anywhere near there. He should be able to have an upper hand and call the leaders that are being told, even without just... Call them to his office and tell them, how far have you gone with this thing? Please stop it. If I were a president and I hear of a grouping like Umozi Kumawa, I would call whoever is the leader of the group to say, can we have lunch with you? I hear of a group being done in the northern region. I will call the leader. I hear of a group being done in here in Lengeland. I'll call the leader and ask them and go through with them the need to build this country. Because if you remember when Mazoka was Zambia Railways MD, there was a commission called the Mumpansha Commission. Mumpansha Commission was basically trying to find out why there was regionalism coming in Zambia Railways at that time. Kaunda had to appoint the Mumpansha Commission of Inquiry to find out why. Now, this is where the president, if he feels that there's too much regionalism, let him appoint a commission of inquiry to find out. But for him to be saying, the vice president, maybe some region would have preferred the vice president to be and not me from another region, is still below him.
And this is the reason.
And when the president says this region, the Tongas were being beaten here, you know, that's not a fair statement to be made by a president. Me, I was a victim. I'm not Tonga. I was a victim in the previous regime as well. I was a victim. I was tear gassed not once, not twice, not 3 times. I was locked up not once, not twice. I was dispersed from having a meeting not once, not twice. But I didn't think that that action which was taken against me was taken because they were being tribal. That action was taken against me because the PF, I was not part of them. And they wanted me to be part of them, and I was not part of them. And so that to show me who was in charge of the process. And eventually, you know what has happened where we are today. So, you just cannot attribute everything and marry it to a region. That is wrong. That must be condemned.
Even when the fact you're pointing to is there, it's a fact. For instance, the issue of Southerners, which you did issue a statement in, as at yesterday.
Because someone who was privileged to be in foreign affairs. Do you know why we have a problem in Palestine and Israel today? Thomas. The problem that we have in Palestine and Israel is not basically because of settlement in Gaza and in Ramallah. No. The problem that is in Gaza is that when a child is born, they tell them they should not like anybody coming from Israel. So you grow up not even understanding why you don't like the person from Israel. And an Israeli is growing and they're telling them anybody from Palestine is not a good friend of yours. It has now come to where it is today, where we are losing thousands of lives. You know how a militia is created? It is by whispering in the ears of those small boys, young girls, telling them, this is bad. This is how you are treated. This one's treated your mother like this. This one's treated your fathers like this. This one's treated you like this. The job of a leader is not to remind people of a past that they have managed to overcome. The role of a leader is to manage the people, heal the divide. Make them be healed by whatever injustice they might have gone through. It is a bad past, but we have overcome that bad past. We thank God. But when you just remind them and leave it at that, do you know what you are doing to them? The president is lucky because he's surrounded by immunity. If he wasn't, we would have dragged him to court and would have insisted that the president be arrested for issuing such inflammatory statements. And I want to use your platform to tell my fellow citizens in this country, some things must be bipartisan. Some things must be Zambian. When there is something that we think is not right, even if it is Harry Kalaba saying it, who you don't appreciate because you think whatever he's saying he wants to take away from you, learn to condemn them. Because by doing so, you are preserving even the person you like. But just to protect and defend and say, these things were happening to us and what? Yes, they happened. And it was a wrong, which must be forgotten about. It was a wrong that must be dealt with. It was a wrong that we must be healing from. Now, you just can't be, they're healing. Again, you go and start talking about the same thing. And you are the person who should be bringing people together. He has lost it on that one. And I want to reconfirm on this program that the president has missed it, and never again should he continue issuing statements of that nature. Because he himself today condemns that. He speaks against people who speak like that. He condemns it. Why should he be the one again promoting it? They say, don't call others to standards you yourself are not ready to adhere to. Because he who lives in a glass house must never throw stones.
All right. We'll talk about corruption as we pick up the calls. I'm looking at the time. So, live listener, if you have any question, comment, or contribution, you're at liberty of being a part of the show. Give us a call. It is 0977 624270. That is 0977 624270. You can come to via text or drop us a voice note on WhatsApp in line with your contribution. When your call has been picked, you only have 2 minutes to make your suggestion, comment or question known on the platform. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Thomas Osmo, good morning.
Good morning. Uncle Joe, is it?
Thank you, Super Simple Uncle Joe.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Kalaba, we've been following your politics. Mr. Kalaba talks well, but sometimes you misses the talk. The problem is you only focus on a person, not on the party. The problem with you, Mr. Kalaba, you focus on a person, I don't know, not on the party. Instead of condemning the whole UPND, you are just condemning one individual. The president spoke saying that Stinga Ivari Novatonga and Makalava is true. You even saw it. So he's trying to vanish in your mind to acquit. Because it's a what Mutonga Takateke Potaka Station. So he can't run away from that. Lekeni umuntu alire kurira kuryarerira because nga fyavine ngayibukishatari ba president areranda useni never areranda tutonga tagatekepo so mutonga wako have a problem. I've spoiled the whole Tonga tribe because of me. Yes, it's because of the president. No wonder everybody was talking about Tonga. So he's trying to finish that. Then you are busy talking on it. We can't forget about the past, Mr. Kalaba. First of all, remember what you went through. That's when you can do the right thing. Oh, if you let me do this. So why are you refusing the UPND to talk on the PF? Are you on the PF?
As you conclude?
As I conclude, Mr. Kalaba, continue giving checks and balance, not saying that, 2026 are but that we see who come up with only God knows. Thank you.
0977 624270. That is 0977 624270. You can send a text. You can call live on radio or drop us a voice note on WhatsApp in line with your deliberation. Don't forget to tell us the name as well as where exactly you are saying that voice note from. Same via text. If you're coming to via text, don't forget to indicate your name as well as where exactly you are sending that message from. We'll appreciate to hear from you this morning right here on live radio. Hello, good morning. You're through to live radio.
Mr. Thomas.
Good morning.
Mulenga, the voice of the Apula.
All right, go ahead, please, sir. I have.
Mashuka Mashmulenga.
Nabuka Fioguino Patiten Stampai. Amatama Pateni Ponto, Rapela, Section Balances, Massa. Mukama Pientama Vente. Must continue to Silava. Amazambia and Vaga State because my opposition to go nowadays record that once they take a shake that Kilomon Sanako. So government, state government, and the Malanda about what? To democracy. Democracy and over and against because in the Malone city, Gaga, Fogenda. So in the background, especially Mama, PCMO. Because whatever Namaya is tomato, Nagata squad of a commander require. The commander ranch. But Nangava is from a place at the Sakariat, which Sakari Moto, Sakariat, the Yandri Quachanimo. Umutuna Mana Bills Kumbala, took Fuyapa, Palimoto, which one sister Sakarimo. Quadinakam Pojiva Kalamaneco. Abapana Munonga Payakam coach. Amakada Dware Mava, Chirav School. Kalas Yongara Shira Namchupo. The makusana tena wakashibobe nishama kata abasikokisa kumesikochi.
Mukupwikisha?
Kuri government in conclusion chochote twingasuminisha. Ukwamba sio ruchero na tutali tax waletere ko seva using ama mobile. Kati kwa kinga mineko tomo sio debate cause ya transfer yali babwino. Ida iskri shala pako ibata mushitani kana
thank you so very much. I'll give you the next two, then you respond. 0977-624-270. That is 0977-624-270. What you're listening to, it is Live Issues right here on Live Radio 97.3 FM. And of course, this morning we are hosting the president of the Citizens First Political Party and President Harry Kalaba. If you have any question, comment, or contribution, you can either call live on radio, drop us a text, or a voice note on WhatsApp in line with your question. Good morning.
Watomidi.
Mauka Ponji.
Tazuka mazuka kwanja manume.
Toka kuna nwandana wa mtu mina kuti.
This is Home Sanje.
All right, go ahead, please.
Mr. President, good morning.
Good morning, Home Sanje. Kuli Ponji.
Sio tunda.
Kuli kabo tu muri mapenzi mchisichi.
Sio ndara kwema. Sure. I think you can be the moment of Zambia. There is one rare common on you.
My goodness me. Call us back, Woman Sanjay, 0977-624-270. That is 0977-624-270. If you have a challenge, please drop me a text. We'll be able to read it live on radio in line with the question that you have, so that your voice is also heard on the platform. You can also utilize WhatsApp without any inconvenience and ask your question and make your submission known this morning on the platform. All those are avenues you can use. Hello, good morning. Tasawenza kwenu mwasawenza Ponji.
Awe chao kabisa.
Ni mandani.
President studio kamba na mani kalenga.
Go ahead.
Kama ngatando itakuwa president kapa bino manini, ikizani kutika ndirako, tavutika mziko huko. Abanyeze government anapela mpawa, pesa boza. Nanda nani kuona kutia imantali na ndio sala, tunje kongenera. Maona. So ile sio kama kiai ndani kalime, hii aibabu leti, kule na pesa nanja kuti. Pamela zote kamera kuja ndeta ni kwa sababu abantu tumgabiria na one page katika kaunga. Limani manini. Tumgabiria zikara dilipa pa mtengo wa wafikiri kwa tabeni mzuri la iai. So ndani na mpango. But ndo kama sie kama mjia leo pia sasa nakabwa nzako bina problem. Tekela itachipa. Ndio itachipa dola izagwa. Haona ka. Basi leo bakabili la iai ndani kalini. Babili ai kibawe.
For your issue number, it's true that avanzati vanabwela mu government vanabwela na chilungamo yai Thomas na oziva mind au change. Abantu vanabwela mu government Thomas vanabwela na maboza chifika vanatuuza vakabwelapo ungauzanka la 50 kwa liter 6 kwacha ba president vanachipasa naija formula pasa y minus c ndiye ameleza boza fuel ija formula nali yalo siba using our president chifika is maboza yeka yacha. Aba bantu chifukwa nabwa na boza kulipe chintu ochamano zakashita achieve chifukwa boza hivi basenza na boza, and because of that it's difficult for them to manage. Va mulenga voice of Luapolo mulenga na totela.
Mommy Kalinga also wanted to hear from you how you will survive the arrests that the opposition are facing. Is there a plan that you've made to form an alliance or anything?
Uzafusa hivi Mommy Kalinga. Izo kamba fast kanga hivi Mommy Kalinga. Mommy Kalinga also dandaula whether by UPND bankaina my idea zochita arrest say or no arrest say church and niche by UPND bachoka. Elo kuchoka kwa UPND sindile nzaka bachosa zari Kalaba. Baza bachosa ni mtengo wa unga. UPND vazakachoka chifuka mtengo wa fuel waenda pamwamba. UPND vazachoka chifuka na maeggs ya dola. UPND vachoka chifukwa transport kuchoka mwakalikiliki kwenda mutamu ya kwela maningi. So if vintu ndevu zaka vachosa UPND mupawa ngati wafuna kashite arrest ine wata ndao UPND vashite arrest mutengo wa unga, vashite arrest mutengo wa cooking oil, vashite arrest mutengo wa fuel. UPND vateko nzelo mafarmers ankaina fertilizer. Osa tukamba chabe mlusaka na maperfume na masuti vavala sivisa batandiza hivyo yayi. Chifukwa vantu vakakuvotela sipana kukondi chifukwa uli handsome iwe Thomas. Bakuvotela chifukwa bafuna ma actions yako ya batandize. Ngati ma actions yako siya batandiza bazakuchosa. Mwamene ili. So elo UPND wafunika wapunzile wa mwami Kalenga. UPND vanapita muti vamino vatipitisa mwese. But still more UPND vazavana vavotela. Even without campaigning. Chifukwa mu 2021 UPND they hardly campaigned. But bantu mazambians vene vezavana wana tapapeve change mpaka tabe ibwele. And they did that. So ngati wafuna UPND wafuna kuchita. Bantu wama wina ma elections uli mujeo umo mu prison bantu wakuvotela. Mandela lankala president ezichabe mu Robben Island for 7 years. But still mu South Africa wamene ali mujenda metifu nakale president. Anampasa. So UPND basataenda upalise. Bataenda upa mazambians na mamene mankalila mazambians. Bamulenga na totela. Bamulenga balando kutira ukwebele mfa yakwano ko mutanshi. Cho balanda. Ababa nesu na munge ba democracy omoyiri. Namba tule irishanya bamulenga. Pantu ba UPND ero bashire mu government. Batu obiro kutira kwa mailandire. Namba bamulenga na mumfwana imwe. Ifila ndire ba grafe omusamba. Balandire okutira ba opposition takudi ukwata rallies. Ni yali mwa mfiro bamulenga mu democratic country. IG alepera maiswa upo ili bashimulenga pantu balanda tu uli muisamba lya muti uli muisamba ya mpundu umvoko chirelukuta ni fatu mu politics bashimulenga imweta mulimo ifabo tulimo ni balanda tu wenda na ngoshe nokumubeyo mubeya so ifani fatu ishibe efe tule pitamu na mafa tule shingwana nayo so ngati walanda twalira mutule mushita igino atiyo batmefe kulanda landaba elo ngeze mwachiranda inema politics yandi bashimulenga te kutuka nensele bakainda ichirema bakalamba palini bali nchirema keshingisana tetiri ntampi omusawula kuli bakainda ichirema echa number 1 echa number 2 bakainda ichirema nwa president beso elo pa nwa president bakainda ichirema chire echifulo balipo echifulo ndefa yokuyapo balanda ati mutuka mfumu tatuka imoyo elo kabirite tule tukechiflo lefo kuyapo nista wakaepo so ine kuba chindika bakainde ichirema elo dola ngabani nikana bebukisha mukalamba wandi pala mwalandiro kutira imwe 10 hours ngamwaingira fie mule kutika mwanjiro kutira 10 hours mwanga mwafyanta mapalia nishi dola kuupo na pa 14 hours mwalifyanta makale nisho mutengo wabunga ulela pamulu mwalandiro kutira ministers wenunga mwasa mu government tabakalanisha ma GX abo balepta na ma GX mkairo road lero mwalandiro kutira imwenga mwaisa tamwake making sure kutira amantwanikane ama mobile money transfers abantu akabet tabakale ba taxed ile lo mobile money transfers eko abantu babutukila mulando wakutila tamuli nchito muchalo na kwenda mambo kwa tax it means ukutuma fenda la manomba payate mobile abantu batampo kutina kwa fati mudala ungakwele basi tukumane pa point persona so ukutino kukonfia mobile money pantu indala mvako la senda mona shifula so fyonse fila wesha business panish bali tuwevele yaba nesu kutila ina ni betting valete ngoma tumo neda tax vale senda mo it's too high mudia tax betting yafine fya mantwani kane filia fya money mobile emwa abantu vale sangila imikalile but mulamwe no bayingira mu bafya ntamamu elo abasungu aba nabo abana abasungu kuma mine abapela 5 years tax free elo mulanda ulesha tax ntwani kani ama mobile booths bamwathi kulipila nalaba president lalo fuete patali ngana ba president yo tax kuya bebele ngana ba president ya tax on betting kuya bebele bantu abalanda bachuka pafula basho bangojo
quickly
bangojo bachando kutila bakala bamanda fe pali ba church aba pangire statement ile ya ni tribe ni ba spokesperson ba UPND na wena ba president ya church balandi ba church bakonke ilile takonke yechinga so kukonke bakainde echile mabene balandile so bondela ndapo inenga malunga politics andi bangojo mulando kutila tetumulando kutila baye batonga bale bachusha te batonga beka bengalandefi ina chima kutila ina ishiri mutonga na ine wine na alipitamu ishiri mutonga bandane wina alipitamu so ba president abalando kutila ama Zambia nzabe ngi bale chwa na mapanga ine panonga nshirandirepo ngandi feto ndolo mistake bapangile kubula kyo mushobo ngubangojo obalumbula ngai fwe bose bale pitamu Niswala lila kuli banani. Olo bantu ba president balela ndefi. Vale ke ba president.
Let's begin another set. Good morning. Hello, good
Good
morning.
morning, boss. How are you?
Absolutely fine. Your name and where you're calling from?
Woman Sanjay once more.
All right, go ahead, please.
Tulikabo tubadala kunganda kulikabo tu. Twalumba. Leza mulelege.
Kiambirire kukutasani kuzavene mukadirisa. Kukuti zigo mulimuwa manyoza mulite. Alimuma esererabo kupaka mateka and balance. And number 3, tomorrow, the Marilana, who are out there, was the first one to resign under the group of PF government. Only the two is zero. The Nato is Usoboleri. Pamenena, Indira Mundarama, Bona Pandana, Makilo Nindarama, Munata Panda, against the corruption with Islam. Matoga. Kupona kumao ya president ya mene banakabaya sawa ndoke. Azeni ya zonga tiliki kaba. Nge ya kaya tutanizie. Kwa mene makabila paja kutimpundu munya simampundu nai ane soma majo. Baki kwenzo mbera mtu katoi akamba jituruja kwa hao, nyemrenga akamba jituruja kwa hao. Chinese akamba jituruja kwa hao, iyo akamba chabe jituruja kwa hao. Basi yote anga na yaguya ngana. Munga ndiyo wote kena kutani. Ya hau mturuji konda. Ya mturuji atu njibani. It was really funny. Very funny. Azini zindi mwa zandi. Omo wale takatundu. Bagona kutindwe mutu. Tunasizana kukuiza na katundu.
Woman Sanja Mukosiriza.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wakusiriza. Bali ndigile tante la Kalaba. Oma silera. Yehova gavumenti nategera kina. Akamba kutimura imo Kalaba poja na zilali kuigonga population kino kuna yato na pasipani.
Woman Sanja, thank you so very much. 2 minutes is what I'm giving you. Allow me to read out some messages we've gotten here. Good morning, Mr. Kalaba and the presenter. Mr. Kalaba, you are articulating things very well, but you need to differentiate the UPND to PF. During PF, as Lovales were scared to speak freely our mother language in public, but today people are free. So what's your problem, Mr. Kalaba? And you will never rule this country. HH2 2031 is going nowhere. Viva mwana wa kuchundu one chiminya mungoni kasweka. All right. Reading other messages that have come through this morning right here on the program. Good morning, Mr. Thomas. The problem with the head of state is a know-it-all person. No one knows everything, just as Mr. Kalaba said that he has advisors, but it's him who advises them. What's the point of having advisors? Let Bahaka stop being know-it-all and things will work for him. Jonathan in Chalala. All right, these are messages that have come forth in the studio this morning. All right, good morning. It seems like Mr. Kalaba has forgotten so soon that he was once in PF and he used to see what was happening. Radio stations were being stormed by cadres, but now you are there expressing yourself. Lend to credit to what is happening in the new Don government and has achieved so far. Sianjomwa Silumbe. You can respond to those.
First of all, Mr. Sianjomwa Silumbe, I thank you very much. I want to say that, look, by me pointing out a particular issue does not mean that I'm trying to forget what was happening in the past. And I said it on this radio, Thomas. I said, Abena Zambia, Abene. Bali mweno kutira makada ziyafula. Kanshi panto makada ziyafula muri ba PF. Tuwala abafunyapo. Tubike pona ba UPND. Ama Zambians abene bali decide. They decided that. Ama Zambians abene bali mwene fa market. Ama Zambians abene bali mwene fa bus stations. Mula nduwi ne bali mine chipipia. Pa 12th August. No kuyasala ba UPND. Nomba ababantu babasala ichifuire bambi okwafa amazambia nzukwisa pamo tentwika tane tumyaka pinomba filefe akaitufila beko awe abakalamba banchito mwishina lya buwaka inde ichirema eba likuntansikira bushiku ukula tuyibukisha ukutila imwe bale emyuma uyu mtundu wale uchusha mtundu tuyanda tiba president le Kenya okulanda kwa ifyo pantu mulimo mukwete imwe wakutuleta pamo nomba nishina rufyanya pesa ukulanda fyatulete ni pamo ngafyale chitika tafile chitika ile lotefyo fyalipwa fyashibule bebukisha ifyo abantu babombera pokale pakutira imwe bamitemwe iliani gimmick. What he was doing was a gimmick. It was a gimmick because what he promised to deliver economically to the people of Southern Province, he has not delivered. So because he has not delivered, Mano Shani, Chimbuli yake in the tribe wakankabomfi. But we will not allow him to go that route. We will not allow him, unfortunately. We will be talking against it. Even next time when he talks about it, we will expose him to the people of Zambia so they know who he is. After all, they say power doesn't change you. Power doesn't change you, just like money. You can be humble here where you are, Thomas, me, Bible, Masenda, Uchechi, because tamuko ite 1 million kwacha. The moment bala mipela 1 million kwacha, ichifuile uchelonga mwabuka muisule mwode pali ya Isaiah, efyo kasesemali elanda, kwa mkono mwa wikile ndalama nge moshidi, no kwa mbo kupenduru kama just in case, because it changes you. But who ate mwalesa na wana kwa ndalama. First of all, ala verenga chila chipingo cha ndokutila. Seek first the kingdom of God and every other thing shall be added unto you. So, na ngufya kupele ndalama nga waite mwalesa, you continue praising God. Na ngwa kupele power nga waite mwalesa, you continue praising God. Nomba, na kare defela character ya muntu. Character nga takuko ite power, you pretend. Mkwai, ine ndimusubwa, ine mkwai, nga wakupela power. Nifiri afine, kwa mbuko la pusumuna fi. Kwa mbuko la pusumuna fi. Aba ishiba ba iluka to you, efi aba. Uwa kalema, takaleka. Ba Munsanje na mande fingi aziko maningi wa Munsanje makambati ninkale olimba chifukwa sirelo yayi babenzankala president wamene aziba azankala president 2026 ni mulungu chabi. That is why muzokamba hapa yayi muzokamba ati Mutonga sankale president uyo Mutonga mu State House, because wamene aziba chabi ni mulungu. So imo simunga kamba ati Kalaba uku on the other side mukamba ati abantu wenzo kamba so pali uyu muzanu manje ngati akambeko chabe aliyela na evi chabe akambeko ile mulenje bati nshakabe 2026 ndabeko so mulela ndapa elo ine ndemi bati Kalaba 2026 nde imi ya Bible tukesaitira pame ishipali ba munsanje bali bozi bakapona kuchifukushi na nkuli shock waitamba pa TV if your power is exchange ama hands balolesha ba munsanje Uncle Joe nyango Joe ja alolesha Uncle Joe bakaloleshe ba mwami kalengana na bantu awo fitna fichinja mamona so lekele ni leso mwine. It's God who knows what the future holds. In all I am doing is to do what I should do my part. If God ordains it and agrees that 2026 is the year, so shall it be.
Allow me to pick the final set of calls. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, your name and you're calling from? 0977-624270. That is 0977-624270. Allow me to go to WhatsApp right now and play some voice notes I have received here for today's discussion.
Good morning, Kalaba. Good morning, Thomas. It's Kankala Nichi. Leana and Fortune Savim Sengolim Lusaka. Kalaba, you have missed it all. The president is very right. PF Vare Target Tom Tonga. Nokstaka skitu kulando kola kitaka teke po Mutonga. Pari ponsa pari Mutonga institutional pile mukavlet. Pari ponsa pari Mutonga pari fia kulanda. Mi votero ala letene ngombe mutau. Mutitaso mutondu tawaga wino na likele kusawa improvisation of Vare and PF propaganda yo. Propaganda taifana pari na kai. That's why mwana sango kwa mukabineti yako muli mitundu shonsi. Look, Kariya Musiti Market Mwazanga to Mutonga where is the trade when we know Mulemba. FHHIRana. Mamma. So it's all the challenge to come PF. So no Akaranga Mwefat President and the Pasovale Mitankanya. And then we can more political leader. Of course, the mafia could not go to more than that if otherwise, to a total who take one pen, the new fortune is a Vimbichi Senga.
Good morning to you, Mr. Moderator, and good morning to you, my President. To start with, my name is Mr. Stephen Mare. I am sending this voice note from within Lusaka. My President, you are speaking very well. Coming to the issue which you have raised, and others, that for us, like here in Zambia, you are the only hope for the majority of us who are the youths. Continue speaking for us, and one thing which I can just say that we are not going to let you down. Considering that things in Zambia at the moment, they are very bad. You can hear people praising CTF, but us on the ground, you are not seeing anything. If I was president, where are we going as a country? This is government like the way it is that they are just trying to sugarcoat things, making things that they are okay. Look at how people are dying of hunger in other regions. I'll give an example like in Eastern Province. People are surviving on mangoes. Even the chief from Pezeni in Kosiamankos even said that the president should come to the head of the people. People are really suffering. So I wonder why, there are so many people this money is being increased and the likes. Things are very bad. Mr. President and my president is that let's continue speaking for Zambia. Otherwise, at the moment, things are not normal and the democratic space in this country has slanted. Things are very bad. You find that it's only one side. They're talking about even our national resources. Even over the issues of KCM, Mopan, how far are they? We saw the other time people were complaining on Prime TV that they want their money is in line with what they were promised, 2,500 increment. Nothing is happening. Thank you so much.
The IG said that require amaranth, our opposition, require amaranth, what he meant. It's not time for campaign. Time for campaign.
This is Angojo. I've already given you an opportunity, Angojo.
Hello, good morning, live radio. This is Mr. Suare. I'm calling. Good morning, the panel and Mr. President Jari Kalaba. This is Mr. Badia, calling with Lusaka. The problem with Mr. Kalaba, he thinks he's still PF. Everything he talks about is PF. Mr. Kalaba, this time around you have got your own party. Can you focus put much effort on your party. Why is it that every time when you're on a panel, Mr. Kalaba, me personally, I liked you from the beginning, but this time around, you are letting me down. The way you talk, you are just complaining about Yakaindi. You are focused too much on one person. Can you concentrate on your party? Are you telling us that you are the PF spokesperson or what? Everybody mean change too. Because you don't everybody PF, Akaindi. Talk too much about your manifesto. Here in Garden here. Very few people know you. Katuishinga mwalikwata na branch kuno kugadi so that this one box mobilize abantu. But mumulanda people Akaindi. Kana wana politics yabo. Mukadele fe politics ngayaka na mukafa hivi ya kuchita fimbira mukambo limamu. Hello, good morning live radio. This is Mr. Suare.
Okay, you need to get the name. That's Suare. Who sent the message? The voice note. The last one from listening to.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for the cause. I start with Babu Alia. Our to me and last message. Babu Alia, first of all, I concentrate on my party. If he was here, Babu Alia, when I come to Kulondolola, Shanti Opali PF in a panel. He passed upon Dandilo PF. I know this. Upon Delon do PF. PF is a landila. That's why the Mapangas are PF from White Mapanga. That's a canna that one HTF. In Endan did a tinga fiarage ticker. Shokulanda tinga fiarage ticker. Abantu to buy for which ta heal. Nisholandila over PF. And then the party by President Waka in the HM. Elon and the party by HH, spelled by HH Jones. Ushaba landile Yama tribe or remarks Southern Province. Nivana. Teva HH. No man done the party by Nani and General HH. So because it was him, we have to refer to him. Then a pango muland, Bagapuata Bagasaita, Mwana, Nangwabakashi, Nangubayama, Bakata in a way, no pango muland, call out Tesacodini. So, apart to the land the party by Abakalam Bakatera by Chalo. To ever land a mashui, I have local lamu. A mulandu in a Tulevambu in a panel. So, Vangeleneko, Mashua and Managuati, Elo Mugarden, Mashua at Taman Shiva. Mugarden Taman Shiva. Mugatolum Pamba to Richivali. In my pantu, Mamu UPND. Pate ile what is open on Lesamba. Mamu UPND or Mamu. So Monaguata wants to Amushwari Kalaba. Zambia na ipiribuka. Abantu balanda pali hari Kalaba bonzi fe hari Kalaba le lumbola. That's why nenga na lande chintu wonse bale umfua. Pantu na maposa kwa mano ife Kalaba lenda ina nafume number 3 my elections yaliko. Mu 2021 nafume number 3 in Thomas. Elo muntu le fuma number 3. Tetimo babu wale hapo mwikere. Na banenu ba UPND. Ulanda tikaba tabamu ishiba. Nishi basa kidogo kwa number 3. Pantu wakainda number 1, balungu number 2, nafume number 3. So inenga nafume number 3. Tulakanisa nukunjishiwa pantu onisho muntu wale vota. Ali mwena tari Kalaba oyu. So, mutaeka nyefi. Chaba kana kuntuani kani. Nokuya eva yako. So, momole kana, yo Kalaba techuwe. Yafine wale kana pali waka inde ichile mabo. Wale iteka. Nukula panga mabobos right, left and center. Stephen Mwale, thank you very much for your niceties towards me. I'm really humbled, sir. Thank you too much, and I will not let you down as well. We'll make sure that we work together and that we stand up, especially for the youths. You, the youths, the women out there, you will count on me because the programs that you and ourselves will be doing in our party will be very progressive. But Fortune Savimbi, na wachalanda fimbi fya ibela, yo, ifwe, ni chani, you know, chinga chakutila nga mwaite muntu wa Savimbi. Help the person. Umuntu owatemwa balamweba ula. Umuntu owatemwa kumwe banga narufyanya. Ine shishire pano usa mukukana tiyo ifita kwali awe ine ndanda fyokutila. Aba achulile bali fulira ine wena chipele example pano Thomas. Na chikwewe okutila ine namwe yana ilandila ina nishita. Na pele nde ilandila. So all I'm saying is let the bygones be bygones. We have got a country to protect. Tatule fwaya malangulushi yabaka unda. Yali yaba kwete pali bayama ba HH. twambukula yebukisha ada malangulushi ifafe tulefuaya unity of purpose in the country. Zambia must be united. Zambia must move together. That's all we are saying.
As we wrap up the discussion, I've seen people asking for the contact and all that. What is your conclusion?
They're asking for the contact. Maybe the chairman should give his my chairman and Genesis, my chairman was Citizens First Musa.
My name is Tembo Genesis Megzedek, and I'm the provincial chairperson for Lusaka province. And here are my contacts. You can get me through. It's 0973 564171. 0973 564171.
Okay. President Kalaba, any concluding thoughts?
What I would want to say is to urge the people of Zambia to join in our Citizens First all across the country. We have started a very robust program. Do you know about Kalaba and the Citizens First? Ask them. Ask them, because come in our party. We want you to join the CF. To live for peace and tranquility. To live for we and dance kuma youths. To live for we and dance kuli mayo. To live for we and dance muchalo. Regardless of where you come from. For as long as you are a Zambian, that development must reach you. That is our message. Join us, we work together, and where you think we can improve, let us reason together.
All right.
If you want to call me, 0977 794129. 0977 794129 or 0977 779133. 0977 0977 414274. 0977 414274.
All right.
Thank you.
You wanted to say something?
Yes. Vabwadia ku garden yuko. Ngombe epotre kumanina insta. So you can go pa Fred Joe, just behind Fred Joe, epotre kumanina Fred Joe Blanche panganda padwa ngombe, and the number that I've given you, be able to contact me. I'll give you directives or directions where we can.
Elonga baya pali ba ngombe. Papa
So.
Fred Joe. Ngamwaya pali amubebe ati nali mu UPND. Ndefo ekimupa UPND chifume muri ine. Babipeperele bautira CF ingire muri imu. Nisichapa mwabuka.
There you have it. What you've been listening to, it is Live Issues. M. Thomas from Morning.